What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is January 12th, 2022. Please go ahead, as always, hit the like button on this video. Appreciate everyone for watching these videos. You guys are all awesome. Let's take a look today. We're going to check out the price action, the indices. We're going to look at my trades for the day. And before we do that, quick disclaimer, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan, your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades or anyone's trades for that matter, or even your own trades. All right, let's dive in. So indices today, really interesting action. We had our CPI print this morning. I'm not going to lie, it felt like 5 trading days in one, and that probably means I did a little bit too much today. So we'll dive into that. CPI came in pretty much right in line with estimates. We had basically like a 7% expectation for the headline inflation number. We came in right around that 7% number. And I had a feeling, and I was positioned for a bit of a rally in the indices because everyone had already been freaking out about inflation for the past, week or two. So now once we got that number out of the way, now, there's people that can allocate risk. But today ended up going a lot different than what I was expecting. S&P 500 up 0.27%. NASDAQ QQQ up 0.4%. IWM small caps were down 0.74%. Dogs of the Dow up 0.11%. And the ARK Innovation ETF was actually down 2.78%. So it got sparked once again. So this is where things got interesting. So in the morning, it was like, all right, we got a nice move off the open. Tech stocks are going up. This is great. Breadth looked pretty good. But then we had, a pretty monster intraday dip where pretty much everything went like slightly negative. I was not expecting that because for the S&P 500, we got a breakout from the monthly value area. We'll go into that in just a moment. Typically, when you get a breakout like that, you get like a nice powerful move. This one was like, went off with a whimper where we broke out, looked like it was moving. Then we came all the way back in and retested the breakout. And then we ended up resolving up by the end of the day. But look at the range. We only finished about halfway through the range. So this was not some like, speculative boom or like some, burst of excitement. It was really just like, we just chopped around for most of the day. And then when we got the river card at the end of the day, the market ended up, just kind of staying afloat. Volatility ended up closing down for all these indices. And that was really what kept me leaning bullish into the end of the day. Just seeing the vol crush that we got. And then the breadth ended up being mixed. So small caps had negative breadth. And look at these advancers and decliners. Small caps make up most of the market. ARK was just horrible breadth. Barely any of those companies went up. I'm actually kind of curious to see which ones did go up today. I'll probably look at that later. And then we actually had decent breadth for the SPY and the Qs. Finviz heat map, check this out. So, breadth was pretty mixed, as you can see. And then even within groups, a lot of times it'll be like, oh, these tech stocks are very strong. Even within tech, it was pretty mixed. So for instance, we had Tesla, great performance of 3.93%. But then something like Apple only finished up 0.26%. Or, Facebook actually finished red. Amazon finished red. Very mixed. Even among those leading names. And then you can see, industrials caught a bid, basically mixed, even like across sectors, like some of the names were up, some were down. So just a mixed bag today. All right, let's check out our sectors and what performed very well. K-Web, check this out. Now it's on the 3rd slot in our momentum list of 1.51%. Regional banks are at the top of the list, and energy ended up finishing up 0.19%. We had pullbacks in a lot of these more speculative areas of the market. And it really just goes to show that, these areas, no one's really buying them. So yeah, even when things go a little bit more risk on, they're just not allocating to those areas. What else had an advance? So you can see this semiconductors up 0.73%. Blockchain names did get a bounce. So yeah, pretty mixed across the sector board. Style factors, international value was up 1.2%. International momentum led up 1.38%. So yeah, we're getting some nice moves outside of the United States for a change. And then what was very weak, cyclicals were down 0.41%. And then seasonality, we're approaching this options expiration. We maybe have, we have 9 more trading days till OPEX. And then after that, things get a little bit more dicey. You can see the seasonality between January and March. It's not really all that great. All right, let's take a look at our headline indices. Let's see. Okay, now we have futures that just opened as well. So S&P 500. So this is what I meant. Like my trend model actually flipped. It was like +1, -1, +1. So I'm not gonna lie, I did get kind of chopped up today on some trades, but all's well that ends well. We ended up resolving to the upside, and we did get a nice breakout from value. And check this out. Like check out the last time we broke out from value. I tend not to fade that because usually we do get some nice follow through. And kind of the way this thing goes is if there's an absence of sellers and everyone kind of realizes that, that's where you just get like a quick zip to the upside. We didn't really get that today, but because these sellers just could not take the market down, I'm actually curious to see if we get a bigger move tomorrow. But that's really just some thoughts. So this breakout ended up getting really nice follow through. Where was the last breakout from value that we had? This one back in October just got incredible follow through. But look at this one. We had a really powerful move out of value, and then the market just trended for quite a while. So yeah, I tend not to fade the breakouts from value. So yeah. All right. And then now we're above all these key moving averages as well. So we're looking okay for the S&P 500. It doesn't really feel that way, but yeah, we're looking pretty good. And then on our hourly chart, this is our weekly value area. So it's kind of interesting where we don't have that full time frame continuity where we're breaking out of the monthly and weekly value areas at the same time. Usually they're joined at the hip like that. So maybe that's what's making this breakout a little bit weaker, that there's still a bunch of players from last week that are underwater on their S&P 500 position. But yeah, we established ourselves inside of value. And if this 80% rule holds, that targets a move up to 48.08. All right, NASDAQ. Yeah, right now these futures are pretty much flat, eh? Yeah, NASDAQ. Yeah, this one definitely looks a little bit weaker, but the NASDAQ is above the monthly point of control. I don't want to push it too hard in those NASDAQ names. Russell 2000 ended up putting in a red candle, closed well off the lows though. And yeah, the Russell 2000 is just kind of meandering in the abyss. I actually attempted a short in the Russell today, ended up cutting it on day one. To be honest, I ended up shorting it pretty much like right on the lows. So that was, every once in a while that happens where you catch the short, you're just a little bit late. It is what it is. The most important thing for me is, especially like this is one of my, I guess you could call it like a trading New Year's resolution. If I get something wrong, I want to make sure that I cut out of it. We always have this natural inclination of like, we don't want to end up being wrong. So like we'll stick in. And for me, it's just like no BS. Like I'll find another trade that I win, like, just get out of there. Dow Jones actually still above the 20-day moving average. And this one just pulled back into value. And now we're above the monthly value area. So all these indices, they're all looking a little bit different, to be honest. And then let's go through ARK as well. So ARK, this thing just really can't even catch its footing. And yeah, it didn't really even manage to bounce. So we got the breakdown over here. And then, very, very weak bounce. At this point, though, I'd like to think there's a lot of weak hands that are pretty much getting out of it. So what I might do if we get like some red action tomorrow, I might actually sell some premium in this thing. But anyway. All right, let's take a look. We are going to pull up some of my trades for today. We're not going to get to... Oh, one thing I want to show you real quick. The Squeeze Metrics Dark Index clocked in at a 45% reading. That is awesome. And that shows that these dark pool buyers were buying the dip. So I'm glad that I ended up going into the close with some bullish positions on. So let's go through my trades for today. And I would say today was probably one of my worst trading days that I've had in a while. In terms of just like getting things wrong. Not in terms of, taking big losses or anything like that. I took a couple of paper cuts. Also had some good winning trades too. But I would say today, like, in terms of like a frustrating day, this for me is, peak frustration. And days like this are going to happen in your trading. It's just super important that you keep the losses a little paper cuts. That way you end the session. You're not like stuck in a bunch of losers and then you just move into the next day. Boom, you're ready to roll. So let's take a look at some of my trades. So here's basically what happened. Like, the market had a nice move out of the gate, right? Then as the market pulled back, I was like, oh, we could fail on this breakout. So I started taking targets on things. So I attempted a little day trade in Tesla in the morning, took a very small paper cut loss, no big deal. But still, it's like, man, I just lost my day trade. And then pretty much like right after, Tesla just like zoomed to the upside. TME closed this one out for a nice winner. This was a big 3-star trade for me. I just wanted to take some sort of profits in the Chinese equities just because they've had a very nice move to the upside. Infosys, this one had a nice move off the earnings report. Check it out. So this one, nice reaction to the earnings. And you can see it had a gap up. Not really like a super enthusiastic move though. Ended up putting in a red candle. So I ended up taking this one off the books for a nice little winner as well. And this was also, a bigger 3-star trade for me. So yeah, took it off for $25.64. I paid $24.66. Zim, this was another one. I pulled it in because the market was looking a little bit soft. Took it off for a nice winner though. Took it off for $62.09. I paid $60.89. And then I ended up putting it on later in the day. So yeah, I put it back on for $62.62. And Zim ended up, I must say, had a pretty good close. Look at that. So nice move out of value. And yeah, now I'm up on, even on my second trade in this one. So I did have some slippage where I exited. Then I entered a little bit higher than I exited. But that's another thing. Like, another thing you can get caught up on with your trading is like, well, I took it off and now it's a little bit higher than where I took it off. Now I can't get back in. I always have to make sure, like, who cares if it's like 30 cents, 60 cents, just jump right back in. If you make a mistake, you have to correct it. It's really the name of the game at the end of the day. So yeah, I would say for today, like, I had some trading, like, errors, blunders, missteps, whatever you want to call them. So from that perspective, wasn't a good day, but I cleaned up every single mistake very quickly. So from that perspective, I would say, it was a good day. If you can keep your like worst days in terms of like there's technique and what you're doing to a minimum, and you acknowledge it and you just accept it, that's where you always live to fight another day, and then you're just ready to go for the next day. Took a target on my Alibaba. This was another big 3-star trade for me. At 136.41, I had paid 124.9. So this was a nice winner for me. I just closed out 20% of it. I just put here taking a target for prudence. And then I ended up getting long Zim again. And then I put on some long Tesla common shares for more of like a swing trade rather than a day trade. Tesla ended up having a nice move today. Check it out. So yeah, I attempted Tesla a few times and I've been day trading it. Had some pretty good results over the past couple days. But to be honest, like, I cut out of it and then the thing just like rip-roared back to life. We made it all the way back up to this point of control. So I think the key for, if the market ends up having like a bullish sequence into the end of the week, this will be a good stock to watch to see if we can get a move through this entire weekly value area. And you can see we already broke out at the monthly value area right here. So yeah, keep watching that one. But then the options trades, this is really where I had like a lot of these little like missteps. So closed out my Qs for a nice little winner here. Apple had this trade. I would say this, I probably shouldn't have had this one on. Closed this one out for a loser, very small trade. And I just tried to make sure to close out that loser into strength. Also took off Facebook. This one, just didn't really work out for me. Closed it out for 11.10. Paid 14.10. So that's the other thing. Into strength, I was like, okay, let me get rid of these that didn't really work all that well. I never want to be in a position where it's like, let me just hope that it comes or whatever. So yeah, use the strength to scale out of winners, but not only that, use strength to scale out of things that you're like, I wouldn't take this trade again, if I had the option to right now. So here's where I got chopped up. When the market got a little bit weaker, I took some lotto puts in SPY. Took a very small position, very small lotto. So yeah, I sized it for max loss. I could have let these go to a 0. That would have been perfectly fine. That's the thing. Like, lotto positions are very small. Typically for a lotto, I'll usually put in like anywhere between like 1/4% of my accounts, like 0.5% of it. That way it's not really a big deal if it, goes to 0. But I just noticed that I was kind of wrong-footed. Like, I got the direction wrong. Pretty much like right after I put it on, we had like a little flush lower, then the market just ripped right back up. So I took it off for 210. I paid 237. So yeah, it's like, lost the trade, kind of stinks. Got the direction wrong, but kept it like a very small paper cut loss. But then I ended up trying it one more time at lunch. So I honestly should never be trading at lunch. Like, never like day trading at lunch on something that I already like got wrong. Shouldn't happen. So yeah, this one not that great. But yeah, took them again for 239. I just said making one more attempt here. We'll sit on hands if this doesn't work. And then I ended up closing them out for 216. So again, like a very tiny loss, but it was just like every time I would put something on, eventually what I kind of realized is, and this can happen too. So this is a great like teacher of just like, here's how things can go wrong. When you're in a day where the market is not trending, where the market's going sideways, typically like if you're in a breakout trading mindset, what you will do is, you'll buy into strength, right? So you buy into breakouts, you buy into strength, and then you sell on weakness. But when you're in a non-trending sideways market, buying into strength is one of the worst things that you can do when it's just like, going up and down like this. Then also selling into weakness can end up being one of the worst things that you can do. Because what'll happen, this is kind of what happened to me today, is you buy something into the strength, then it goes down, and you're like, dang, it's going down now. I got to stop out. Then you stop out, then it ends up going back up. So then you're like, well, I guess I was right originally. Let me jump back in. And then it comes back in. So that's really where you can get chopped up. And that's kind of what happened to me today. So I'm actually going to log this in my trading journal. Then I'm going to come up with like some sort of rule around that. And I think it'll work especially well in my trend model is between like a -1 and a 1. Because I just hate, doing that. It's like the worst thing in the world. It's kind of frustrating. So yeah. Just a good learning lesson. Definitely going to journal it and just make a little tweak. But yeah, that second one I probably shouldn't have done. And then what else here? Yeah, then I tried when the market looked very strong, going for like a swing trade in SPY to the bull side. Same exact thing happened. It just came right back in. And yeah, that's what happens when you're in a very choppy market. So yeah, market ended up resolving to the upside. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to end the day. I put on some, I don't think it's on here. I put on some Starbucks for like an oversold bounce trade and put on some SPY calls to end the day since we ended up holding the breakouts. That's the other thing. When you make some mistakes, it's easy to be like, well, I originally said one thing and then it ended up being wrong. And then if you change your mind back the other way, there's a natural tendency to be like, well, I can't go back or whatever. Now I gotta just like sit on the sideline, or now I gotta like stay with this losing position. For me, it's like, we ended up holding the breakout. My trend model is at a +1. I always love to trade these breakouts to the upside. Since we held it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in with these positions into the close. So yeah, ended up being kind of like a sloppy day for me, not gonna lie, but it is what it is. Sometimes that happens. All right, let's take a look, and then it's really just upward and onward. So yeah, tomorrow will be a better day. Alrighty, let's take a look here. I'm gonna pull up our TradeScape. We'll take a look at some of the options flow for today. Alrighty, let's take a look. We got some Tesla activity going up. We have basically all January, like very short-term stuff on the bull side. This is some March 1100 calls. EOG energy has been very hot, and you can see these expire on the 21st. Bunch of positions going up. This energy, I must say, you know, it's pretty extended at this point, but a lot of these names are making nice moves. So yeah, it's tough to enter at this point, but yeah, you can't deny looking very good. Microsoft, wow, some big put flow going up there. AbbVie, I was actually looking at this name yesterday. All stuff for January 21st. Let's see what AbbVie did. Yeah, nice move for AbbVie, and it's kind of coming out of this consolidation. And then Lucid, let's see what this one did. Lucid, yeah, it's all really like January options. It's very short-term stuff. Yeah, and Lucid just kind of squatted, had a nice move yesterday. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Let's go through our options races. Let's just see how much flow came into Tesla. Yeah, overall, you know, the way I'm seeing this market, the breakout held and our squeeze metrics DIX came out with a nice bullish signal. So yeah, we'll see what happens into tomorrow, but I think we're looking okay. Yeah, so you can see Tesla had about 3 billion in flow. AbbVie was up there. Then we got a bunch of stuff for the Qs, EOG, and then FCX. Let's take a look at FCX. This one had a nice move as well. This will be where we end off for today. Yeah, Freeport Moran. Copper had a very nice move. I'm actually going to be watching this one into tomorrow. Nice breakout on volume. And we're trading right back to those prior highs. Yeah, check that out. This stock might need to handle out first. But yeah, look at the trend this one was on for a while. And very nice move to the upside. Let's take a look at copper before we break. Yeah, very nice move for copper today. So with that being said, that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had an awesome trading day, and I will see you all tomorrow.